Alright, so how we align buildings to a certain terrain. There are two different ways that I'll demonstrate how to do it. The first one will be through Maproom again. So we're just going to change this ground plane option here to terrain, and then we're going to click align shapes to that terrain, and then that will make the objects on top of the plane. Now you'll see that they're still underneath the terrain, so that's not a very accurate way of aligning the buildings. So the second way to do it, I'm going to just change that back to the ground plane. I'm going to exit out of Maproom, and I'm going to maximize this viewport here. Now let's find which layer my terrain is on. Here it is. And I'm just going to get this as well. Alright, so I'm going to begin off by selecting all of these buildings here, going up to my utility and clicking collapse, and then collapse selected. So that will essentially make all of your buildings one object. And then we're going to go back to modify, and then we're going to explode these objects. We're going to explode this one object into multiple objects. So click explode, and then give them names, so buildings, and then that will explode them. So from there we select them all again, go to the hierarchy tab, and then select effect pivot only. So you'll see that at the moment that there's only one pivot here. We're going to center to the object here, and you'll see that that's created a whole bunch. And then we're going to go to the move tool, and then down here we're going to align the pivots to the ground plane, which is 0. And you'll see that they've moved down. So untick that, and then you'll see, if I click on a taller one, you'll see that the pivot is aligned to the bottom of it, which is what we want. So from there, we can unclick that, go back to the create panel and create a tie flow. And then click on that, go to modify, and then click open editor. And that will bring up this window here. Now we want to bring in birth objects, and then we want to select all of our buildings here, and then click add selected into our birth objects here. So that will create a tie flow version of our objects. So I'm just going to turn off all of these other layers except for my tie flow. And then we're going to scroll across until we find add mesh. We go to our, where are our mesh operators? Here we go. We're going to add mesh, and that will help sort of bake our objects and allow it to be rendered, I guess. So just make sure that's on triangle mesh, and then we're going to add a position raycast, which is here. And that's going to be above mesh but below the objects. And here we're going, so this is essentially defining what object we want our objects to find here to be sort of projected onto, I guess. Now I just need to turn on my terrain. Here it is. Select that, add selected, and there it is. Now you need to change the raycast origin offset to 100 meters. So this is so the buildings sort of go up 100 meters and then they snap back down onto the terrain. If I had gone only 5 meters, then they're still, I don't know where they are, but they're not there. So if I do 100 meters. They're going to go up and sink back down. You'll notice that they're still half under the terrain, and that's because we need to go back to both objects and then select all of those and click center pivot, untick center pivots. There you go, and you'll see that they've moved up slightly so that they're not underneath the terrain. And there we go.